black box. Okay. So let me explain what I mean by this. A lot of times people will try and create this narrative around psychology, around emotionality, around biomolecular, whatever the hell, gobbledygook. And so I can say that it is incredibly difficult to understand why something works or why people do things. But what we can observe is whether something works or whether they did something. And so we want to say, okay, we have this box. There is an output. Instead of trying to figure out what magic is happening inside of this box, we just want to focus first on the inputs. And what's interesting about focusing on the inputs is that the inputs themselves will give you feedback loop that is required in order to get better at the skill. So basically, being inefficient, sucking for a lot of reps will get you better at not being bad. Because you will be so bad that you'll think, my God, I suck at this. I wonder if I could suck less at this. And then you'll tweak a couple things and you'll be like, wow, I'm not as bad as I once was. I'm not good. But eventually you keep doing things that make you less bad until eventually you look back and you're like, you know, if you less bad yourself 100 times, you're actually pretty good. And so this is where doing more in the beginning without the obsession on understanding why will get you closer to your goal, because so many times people say like, well, I want to understand why. You want to have a narrative that someone gives you to scratch a psychological itch, not because it inherently does anything. I'm going to give you an analogy here. Imagine we do a tennis lesson. You go to a tennis pro, right? And let's say you're gripping the racket. In order for you to grip the racket correctly, does the tennis pro then say, hey, we should really discover why you grip the racket incorrectly? What different teachers didn't describe to you the proper way to hold a racket? And let's try and understand the undermining emotionality behind the grip that you have. No, they're just going to get you to grip the racket correctly. And so for you, I would encourage you to ignore people who try to put on all of these whys and these psychology and the subconsciousness and the neurolinguistic programming and all this hullabaloo, when like you just need to send this email, say these words, move your body in this way, use your voice like this, hold your head up, stare straight. If someone cannot tell you what to do with either your mouth or your body, they are not giving you clear directions to succeed. And so I would encourage you to use that as your razor, as who is good at teaching shit and who isn't. Because they will try to appeal to some sort of mysticism that they are tapped into the universe, and they'll anthropomorphize, fancy word, the universe, saying that it's whispering the secrets. Like you can have it. It's telling you, like, no, there is observable reality. If you can describe that observable reality, by the way, very difficult, right? Much easier to tell someone to be charismatic than it is to actually come up with these 37 activities that people then later ascribe as charisma. So the way to think about teaching yourself is to look at situations through an observational lens, like a scientist, like somebody who does not understand the emotional context, and then say, what does this person do that gets these people to smile? Output smile. What are the inputs? The inputs is this person shook that person's hand. When did he do it? When he walked in the room. Okay. Did he smile? Yes. So he walked in, he smiled, he shook their hands. How is he holding his body? Is he like this? Is he like this? Okay, so I need to contract my traps and my mid-back so that I can stand up straight. Okay, when I do that, people perceive me in a different way. How do I know they perceive me in a different way? I don't. But what I do know is that they have a higher likelihood of complying with my requests. And so this is the idea when I say, like, have you ever heard my stuff where I'm like, listen, people will say, like, he bought because we hit his emotional trigger. Where is this trigger that we can observe that it got hit? We only know, did he buy, did he not buy, period. And so we just want to manage the variables prior to the desired outcome. And can we do more of this stuff that increase the likelihood these things occur? Which obviously, in order for us to do all of this stuff, we have to measure.